Hello everyone. I hope all are doing good and these video lectures are helping you to understand the concepts. Okay. Then today in this video lecture I am going to cover the topics on the purpose of embedded system and the core of an embedded system. Now first coming to the purpose of embedded system. So why we are using the embedded systems, what are the use of embedded systems. Okay. So as in the previous video, we have seen the application areas of embedded systems. So embedded systems are used in many areas, like they are used in healthcare, they are used in computer networking, then cloud computing, IoTs, home automations, and many more areas. So day-to-day life we are dealt with these embedded systems. Okay. So coming to the purpose of an embedded systems. So the first purpose is the data collection, storage, representation. To collect the data, and after collecting the data we need to store, then after storing the data we need to represent. Right. So for example, as of now all we know that we are undergoing the COVID-19 pandemic situation, right? So at this stage the health department need to collect the data of the positive patients as well as the other patients also. So the data, like the heartbeats of a patient, or the data can be related to the respiration system, and the data can be related to the temperature of the body, right? So this all uh, the doctors need to collect these data from the patients, so that the doctors can analyze the patient, that how much they are infected with this COVID-19, right? So this is what the collection of data. Then after collecting these data we need to store, and we need to represent, or we need to check how much they are infected with this disease. Okay. Now coming to the another purpose, that is data communication. So right now we people are communicating each others, and you people are understanding the concepts through this video lectures, right? We are communicating each others. Now we'll see how the embedded systems plays an important role in this communication, right? So in data communication we require networking devices like routers, switches, hub, and many more networking devices. So why we require these devices? So these devices which makes the communication between two devices or two persons, right? So these devices will act as what the embedded systems, so that the two persons or the two devices which are communicating each others. So these embedded systems which helps for communication between the two devices or two persons here. Now coming to the another purpose of the embedded system, that is data signal processing. So here the data can be the analog or digital. So and thus data must be processed using the embedded systems here, right? Then coming to the monitoring. So to monitor the patients we require the embedded systems. For example, almost all the embedded products comes under the medical domain. As of now, the doctors requires ECG machines to check the patient heartbeats, right? So this is what the purpose of the embedded system here. Now the next purpose is what, the controlling. So here to control the any system, we require the embedded systems like the sensors and actuators. So these are two embedded systems which are used for controlling the systems. And lastly, the application specific user interface. So the applications which are designed according to the user need. So in that application we require what, the embedded systems here. So this is what the purpose of embedded systems. So now we'll go in detail regarding this purpose of embedded systems. So data collection. storage, representation. So the data is a collection of facts such as values or measurements, or it can be the numbers, words, measurements, observations, or even just a description of the things here. The purpose of embedded system design is to collect the data. The collection of the data is what the purpose of embedded system, and it performs acquisition of data from the external world. And the data collection is usually done for storage. Why we require the data? So the data has to be stored. After storing, we are going to analyze the data, and we manipulate the data, and for transmission we require what the data here. So the data can be analog or digital. For example, the digital camera here. So what is this digital camera? Digital camera is an embedded system, right? Can you tell me, or can you guess why it is an embedded system? Because this is what digital camera is, an electronic device, right? Then it is a combination of hardware, software, as well as the mechanical components here, right? A digital camera is a typical example of an embedded system. So this digital camera which capture the images, right? And the captured images are stored and also need to be presented to the user through the graphic LCD unit here. So here the digital camera which captures the image, right? That is what the collection of data. After capturing, we are going to store into the camera, right? Then after storing the data, we need to see, or we need to represent the data through the graphic LCD unit here, right? So this is how the data collection, storage, and representation of the data, and this is what the purpose of embedded system, to collect the data, store the data, and to represent the data here. Now coming to the data communication, as I told, to communicate between the two devices or two persons, we require the embedded systems here. So embedded data communication systems are deployed in applications. They are into the applications ranging from the simple home networking systems to the complex satellite communication systems. So these embedded systems are deployed into the what simple home networking systems. In home networking systems, like we uses refrigerators, air conditioners, right? So these embedded systems are deployed into these home uh, embedded systems here, and to the complex satellite communication system as well. And in coming to the networking, computer networking, then we require the network hubs, routers, switches, and this is all the example for the dedicated data transmission embedded systems. To transmit the data, we require these networking devices here. Then data transmission is in the form of wire medium or wireless medium. So whatever the data I am sending to you people through this video lectures, so that transmission is done through wire medium or the wireless medium here. So initially wire medium is used by embedded systems. So in olden days or in the previous days, so they are used as a what, in wired medium. As the technology changes, the wireless medium becomes the de facto standard in embedded systems. That means, so these embedded systems are also used in wireless networks. The USB, TCP IP are example of wired communication, and Bluetooth, Zigbee, and Wi-Fi are example for the wireless communications here. Then digital signal processing. The embedded systems with the signal processing functionalities are employed in applications demanding signal processing like speech coding, audio video codec, then the transmission applications, and many more. For example, a digital hearing aid is a typical example of an embedded system. So this is Example for the embedded system, right? So this embedded system is used as the data signal processing. How? So this digital hearing aid converts the sound waves into digital signals and produce an exact duplication of a sound. As this digital hearing aid is an embedded system because it is an electronic device, right? It is a combination of hardware, software as well as the mechanical components. So which is used to convert the sound waves. So whatever the sound waves, it captures that sound waves and convert that sound waves into what the digital signals, and the chip in a digital aids analyze the speech and other sounds from the environment here. So this is what the purpose of embedded system in digital signal processing. Then monitoring. So almost all embedded systems or products coming under the medical domain are with monitoring functions. So whatever the embedded systems are designed in the view of the monitoring, they are all coming to the what the medical domain here. So they are used for monitoring functions. For example, the if I want to check the patient heartbeat, and this patient heartbeat is monitored by the ECG machines, that is electrocardiogram machines. So this is what the ECG machine, and the other devices like digital CRO, digital multimeters, and logic analyzers are example of monitoring embedded devices. If I want to monitor the data, right? So I require these devices as a what the embedded systems. This is what the purpose of embedded system is, to monitor. Then to control, right? So to control any devices, I require the embedded systems. So here we use the embedded systems as the sensors and actuators. So these are used for controlling the systems. So what is sensors? Usually the sensors which sense the data. Okay. So these sensors are connected to the input port for capturing the changes in environment or measuring variables. For example, the temperature sensor. So the temperature sensor which sense the temperature in the environment. Then actuators. So these actuators which are connected to the output port are controlled according to the changes in the input variables. For example, air conditioner. Okay, so this air conditioner is an embedded system, right? Because it is an electronic device and it is a combination of hardware, software as well as the mechanical components. So this is the typical example for embedded system. So the AC compressor unit, that is called as a what actuator in AC, and is controlled according to the room temperature. So that is room temperature which is detected by the sensors, and the according to that the desired room temperature is set by the user here. Then going to the application specific user interface. So these are what the applications which are specific to the user interface. So these are embedded systems with application specific user interface like buttons, switches, keypads, lights, bells, display units, etc. And the best example for this is the mobile phones. So the mobile phones which are designed according to the user needs. So in the mobile phones, it has the user interface. The user interface is provided through the keypads or the touch screen, then the graphic LCD model, then the system speakers, then it has the vibrate alerts, etc. Summary of purpose of embedded systems. The purpose of embedded systems are data collection, data storage, and data representation. Example, digital camera. Then data communication. Example, network hubs, routers, switches, and USB and TCP are example of wired communication, and Bluetooth, Zigbee, and Wi-Fi are wireless communication. Then purpose, data signal processing, example, digital hearing aid. Then purpose, monitoring, example, ECG to monitor heartbeats. Then purpose, controlling the system, example, sensors and actuators. Then the last purpose is application specific user interface. Now going to the next topic, that is core of an embedded system here. So embedded systems are domain specific and application specific. They are designed on domain specific or application specific here and are built around a central core. The core of the embedded systems are of the following categories. The first category is the general purpose and domain specific processors. So general purpose processors, they are designed for general purpose, and domain specific, they are designed for specific purpose here. So the first general purpose processor is the microprocessor, and the domain specific processor is the microcontrollers. Microprocessor, it is a general purpose processor, and microcontroller, it is a domain specific processors, and other processors like digital signal processors. Then other kind of a core of the embedded systems are the application specific integrated circuits, then programmable logic devices, then commercial off the shelf components. So as of now in the syllabus, it's only about the microprocessors and microcontrollers. So mainly we'll concentrate on these microprocessor and microcontrollers. Now going to the microprocessor. A microprocessor is a general purpose processor, right? And a processor, that is a microprocessor, is a silicon chip representing the CPU, central processing unit, and which is capable of performing arithmetic as well as the logical operations. And the CPU contains arithmetic and logic units as well as a control unit and working registers. And a processor, microprocessor, is a dependent unit. It is not an independent unit. So it requires the combination of other hardwares like memory, timer, then interrupt controller, and many more additional units to the microprocessor to function properly here. So now going to the history of a microprocessor, we need to understand the evolution of a microprocessor. So how it is evolved. Now can you tell me which is the first microprocessor developed by Intel? Okay. So in the year 1971, Intel claims the credit for developing the first microprocessor, that is Intel 4004. So this Intel 4004 is a 4-bit microprocessor. A 4-bit microprocessor means what? It can process 4 bit of data at a time. And so it was designed for older calculators. Then in the year 1974, Intel launched the first 8-bit processor, microprocessor, that is Intel 8080 with 16-bit address bus. So what is this 16-bit address bus? So whatever the data we are going to store into the memory, and memory consisting of memory locations and memory location which is of 16-bit. So this address bus carries the 16-bit memory location, and also it contains the program counter as well as the 7 8-bit registers. Then Intel 8080 was the most commonly used processor. So at that time, so this 8080 was the most popular processor for industrial control and other embedded applications in the year 1975. Then immediately after the release of Intel 8080, it became popular, and another manufacturer or industry, that is Motorola, also released its processor, that is Motorola 6800, with a different architecture and instruction set compared to the Intel 8080. Then in the year 1976, Intel came up with the upgraded version of 8080, that is Intel 8085, which is also a 8-bit processor with two newly added instructions as well as the three interrupt pins. The three interrupt pins are INTR, INTA, and trap pin. INTR, which is of an interrupt request, INTA, which is of an interrupt acknowledgement, then the trap are the interrupt pins, and also the serial input output. Then in the year 1976, the another company called Zilog entered into the processor market with its processor called Z80 as a competitor to the Intel. Then the another other manufacturers like AMD, Freescale, Global Foundries, then TI, Cyrus, Nvidia, Qualcomm, MediaTek. So these all the many companies so which came into the microprocessor market. Do you know which is the company leading right now? So that is Intel. Intel still leads the market with cutting edge technologies in the processor industry here. Okay. Now going to the next processor, that is microcontroller processors. Okay. So what is this microcontroller? A microcontroller is a highly integrated chip that contains a CPU, RAM, and special as well as the general purpose registers, then a ROM or flash memory for program storage, timer and interrupt control units, and dedicated IO ports. So these units will come into one processor, that is called as a microcontroller. A microcontroller which contains CPU, RAM, ROM, flash memory, timer, interrupts, all are equipped in a one system, that is microcontroller here. Microcontrollers can be considered as a superset of microprocessor. Why? Because to function properly, the microprocessor to function properly, it requires the additional as the microcontrollers. Okay, so hence it is considered as a superset of microprocessors. And a microcontroller contains all the necessary functional blocks for independent working. And they found a greater place in the embedded domain in the place of microprocessors. So they are cheap, they are cost effective, and are readily available in the market. Compared to the microprocessor, the microcontrollers are cheap, they are cost effective, as well as they are readily available in the market. Now coming to the history of microcontroller. Okay, then the first 4-bit microcontroller introduced by Texas Instruments, that is a TMS 1000. It is considered as a world first microcontroller, and which is of a 4-bit. And TA followed the Intel 40004, which is of a 4-bit microprocessor, and they also designed the 4-bit microcontroller and added some amount of RAM and ROM as well as IO support on a single chip here. Then in the year 1977, Intel entered into the microcontroller market with a family of controllers coming under one umbrella called or named as the MCS48 family. Then Intel came out with its most fruitful design in the 8-bit microcontroller domain, that is 8051 family. So this became the most popular microcontroller at that time. And 8051 is the most popular as well as the powerful 8-bit microcontroller ever built, and developed in the year 1980 and was put under the family MCS51. And almost all 75% of microcontroller used in embedded domain were 8051 Intel 8051 family based controllers during 1980-90s. Then 8051 processor core are used in more than 100 devices by more than 20 independent manufacturers like Maxim, Philips, Atmel, etc. under the license of Intel. And due to the low cost, as a microcontroller is cost effective and they are used widely, and availability, they are available widely, and memory efficient instruction sets, then mature development tools, and Boolean processing capabilities. Then 8051 family derivative microcontrollers are much used in high volume consumer electronic devices as well as in the entertainment industries and other gadgets where cost cutting is essential because microcontroller is in a cost effective. Now coming to the difference between the microprocessor and microcontrollers. As a microprocessor is a general purpose, microcontroller is a specific purpose. So microprocessor generally does not have a RAM, ROM and IO pins because it is a standalone. So it requires the additional units, and microcontroller is all in one processor with RAM, IO ports, all are in a one single chip. Then microprocessors are generally capable of being built into the bigger general purpose applications, as well as in the case of microcontrollers are usually used for more dedicated applications or specific oriented. They are specific oriented. Then microprocessors generally do not have power saving systems. In the case of microcontroller, they have power saving systems like idle mode or power saving mode. So overall, it is uses the less power. Then the overall cost of the systems made with microprocessor is high because of high number of external components required, and microcontrollers are made by using complementary metal oxide semiconductor technologies, so they are far cheaper than the microprocessor here. Microprocessors are based on von Neumann model, and microcontrollers are based on Harvard architectures. So this is about the core of the embedded systems here, and I hope these video lectures are helping you people to understand the concepts better, and having any doubts, so put your comments or doubts in discussion forum. Okay, thank you for watching this video lecture. Stay safe, stay home, be safe, then fight against coronavirus. Thank you.